Hello everybody, it's Anne from Anne Stampin' Up. I'm an independent demonstrator here in Simcoe, Ontario, and if you live in Canada and you don't have your own Stampin' Up demonstrator, feel free to shop with me. You can reach me at stampsandtea@gmail.com, or my demonstrator website is stampsandtea.stampinup.net. What we're going to make today is a quick card again, and we're going to use product from the July to December catalogue and product from the Celebration catalogue. So this is the product we're going to use from the July to December mini catalogue. It's called Ringed with Nature. The bundle is $72.75, and in the bundle you get the stamp set, you get the dies, and you also get a hybrid folder. Hybrid folder just means you can emboss with this folder, and then the dies will overlay what you've embossed and cut out really very nicely together. So that's the bundle. The DSP we're going to use is this DSP, which is free in the Celebration catalogue for a $60 purchase, and this DSP is really quite pretty. It's got lots of nice colours in. Poppy Parade, let me just see. It has Crushed Curry, Evening Evergreen, Mint Macaron, Night of Navy, Parakeet Party, Petal Pink, Pool Party, and Soft Suede. And it's lovely papers. And they're really nice papers. They're nice on the fronts and they're nice on the backs too. So I'll just show you a couple quickly. There's a nice fall type, and it has a nice pale pattern on the back. There's the birds with a mottled paper on the back. Then there's this paper with the houses, which you could cut out quite easily because they're all quite square shaped houses, and that has a lovely medallion on the back. And then there is, let me see, oh, of course, the toadstools and the maple leaves and what have you. And then this one, and that has rings, the rings on the back, which we'll cut out with the dies. And then you have this, which could be used as a Christmas paper. It almost looks like poinsettias, and it has beautiful birch trees on the back. So that's a really nice set of paper if you wanted to get it for free. I'm going to use Poppy Parade for my card base. And this card base is 11 inches by 4 1/4. Now normally I would say and score it at 5 1/2, but I'm not going to say that today. We're going to cut the front so that the front of it is just a half front. Okay, so let me bring in my cutter here. Whoops. Now we can do this two ways. You could emboss the front and then cut it, or you can cut it and emboss the front. I'm going to cut it because I want my score line to be right on the same, right on my cut line. So I'm going to line my cardstock up at 5 1/2, which is half of my 11 inches. So that puts my card right in the middle, my score line right in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to take my cutter, my blade, whoops, and I'm going to cut my paper down 2 1/4 inches. Now I'm going to push my scoring blade right up to the top. I'm going to take this and I'm going to look at the measurements, holding my card firmly here. Look at the measurements on my guide here. You can't really see them, but I can see them, and they are there. You can see them maybe better down there. And I'm going to cut this off at 2 1/4 inches. So I'm going to hold my card firmly, hold my guide firmly, because as you know the guide moves just a little bit. I'm going to hold it all firmly, and I'm going to cut down to 2 1/4 inches. Looking at my guides here, I'm going to put that finger there, hold all this, and bring that down, right down to 2 1/4, and I'm just going to lean over and see that I've got 2 1/4, and I have. Move this blade out of the way, make sure my cut is right in the middle, and I want to score the rest so that I've got my score line to work with as well. There's the center fold of my card, and by cutting down first and then scoring the rest, everything is lined up perfectly. So now I'm going to turn this around, place my card at 2 1/4, with my scoring blade, put my other blade at the top, and I'm going to come right down here until I feel the blade hit the cut in the card, or to 5.5 inches, which is the size of my card front. So we're about there. Lift that up. This piece should slide out if I've cut it right, and it did. And then this piece will fold over right on my score line, and there's my card with the front edge cut off. Okay, perfect. While we have the cutter here, we're going to take this little piece of DSP from the floral, from the Rings of Love DSP. It's 4.5 by, let me think, 4.5 by 2.25. Yes, 4.5 by 2.25, and I'm going to put it in my cutter this way, and I'm going to cut it into 3 pieces at 1.5 inches each. That way I'll get 3 even sized pieces from my 4.5 inches. There, and I'm going to keep those in the right order, so I'm just going to lie them down there like that, so I've still got them. I think that's all the cutting we need to do. We're going to bring in the big shot, and we're going to emboss the front of the card using the Tree Rings hybrid folder. And because it's a hybrid folder, we just need board number 1 and board number 4, I think it is. Yep. And I'm going to put this board in, and you'll see it come out at this side. So I'm going to put my Tree Rings. I only want to emboss the front of the card, so I'm just putting half of my cardstock, just my card front, in there. Now I'm going to move it because I don't want these 2 pieces lined up just like this, so I'm going to put it here like this, so it's got some pattern. You see, I've placed it in here, and I'm going to have to push it right in. Oops, come on, right in to there, so that I get everything embossed, and it'll give me a nice pattern on the front. So let me put that in there and wind this through, and hopefully I get a nice embossed pattern on the front. You can see it if I tilt the card right like that. Isn't that lovely? That's nice. Okay, so let me put these out of the way, and that. So next, what we're going to do, we're going to start building the card. We've only got one thing to stamp, so we'll do that last. Well, we have a sentiment to stamp, but we're going to put a little flower on the inside of the card. We've got a piece of Whisper White or Basic White, whatever you have in your stash, Basic White, and this is 5.25 by 4, and I'm going to put this on the inside of the card like that. First of all, I'm going to put these 3 pieces of paper here like this. Alright, and I'm going to use liquid glue to do that, and I'm going to have about 1/8 of an inch at the top showing white, but I'm going to have a little more. I'm going to spread them evenly. Now I could have cut these to, like, you know, 1, instead of being 1.25, 1.5 across, I could have cut them to like 1 5/8, but just for ease I just left them at 1.5, and I'll just divide them evenly across the page. But I want to make sure that I sort of keep the pattern flowing across the page. I don't want to mix them up. So we'll put those 2 to one side. With my card out, we've got this. We'll bring in the little silicone mat for gluing on, and we'll turn it over, and we'll use liquid glue, because then I can slide it around to get it exactly where I want on my card. Now what I like to do when I'm doing something like this is place the first one, and then place the one at the opposite side of the card, and then place the one in the middle last. So I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch at the top and 1/8 of an inch at the side. Press that down, trying not to slide it around, but I want to make sure it's straight. We're going to do the one for the other side, the other outside piece. Just get rid of that. And I'm going to look at the piece I've done, I've already put down, and I'm going to put this, and I'm going to use a ruler because I really want these to be straight. I want them to be nice and straight. And then we'll do the last piece, and we're just going to center this piece right in the middle. Now what that means is my space in between my pieces of DSP may not be the same as the space on the outside, but it doesn't matter because I just want it all to be even, and really you're not going to see much of that at all. It's honestly, it's about 1/16 of an inch will be the difference. And unless you're like me and you're taking your ruler out, you're not going to notice. There. Well, that looks pretty straight. There. And I'm just going to turn it over and give it a good press so that I'm not moving anything around when I'm pressing. So we're going to take that and we're going to put that on the inside of the card. I'm just going to use my tape runner for that. Bring this in. And I should have about 1/8 of an inch around, all the way around. There. So you can see how nicely this card's coming together. I'll set that there. We have a sentiment. We're using the sentiments from the stamp set Ringed with Nature, and we're going to stamp the sentiments in Poppy Parade. And I've got a scrap of white here that I'm going to stamp my sentiment on and punch it out. And I'm going to stamp a little sentiment on the inside which says, I think it says "Get well soon." So let me put this here and open that up. Make sure my hands are clean. And we have this stamp set that says "Thinking of You." I'm just going to pop it down here on a scrap. Nice. And I've got a little stamp here that says "Get well soon" from the same stamp set. And I'm going to put that right under the middle. Can you see? Wait a minute, move it up. I'm going to put that right under the middle piece of my DSP. There. What else I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp a little flower in the corner, and I'm going to use Poppy Parade and Old Olive. I'm going to use Old Olive for my leaves. And this is sort of a two-step stamp, so you can stamp the leaves in Old Olive, stamp the flowers in green, and stamp the flowers in Poppy Parade, and they will match up. So let me just, yes, I've got Old Olive there. Make sure that's nicely inked, and I want to pop it right on the corner of the card. Like that. And then I'm going to stamp the flowers. The flowers I'm going to stamp in Poppy Parade. Gotta watch, gotta line this up. In the center of these flowers there are there's a little dot in the center of each flower, or a little hole in the center of each flower. I don't know, you can sort of see it there. These holes match up with these 3 flower centers here. So that's why I'm turning my card so I can see it. And you'll have to excuse my head for a minute because I want to get this lined up nicely. There. So there's a little flower in the inside of the card. We've got a sentiment here that we have, and we're going to use this story label punch to punch it out. Looks about the center. And we're also going to punch a piece out of Poppy Parade, and then we're going to layer them with a piece of ribbon behind them. I've got some nice Poppy Parade ribbon here. It's about 1/8 of an inch wide. It's not too wide, but it's very nice. It's got a little bit of gold trim on it, and I probably need about maybe 8 inches or so of that. We'll see in a minute. But first I'm going to see how these are both exactly the same. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the red one in half, just so that I can layer them. Bring in my little mat again. And we've got the top and we've got the bottom, and I'm going to layer them so that they just stick out a little bit, just like this at the top, that you can see at the top. So I'm just going to use some liquid glue again so that I can slide them around if necessary. I think I'll put the glue on the white part. I'm going to put one piece here. Pick this up. And then I'm going to slide it so that it's even, and I can just see a little bit of each colour. And this piece will go on the bottom. And it should, if it's lined up properly, it should line up, you know, be evenly spaced in the middle on the back as well. We're just going to push that out just a hair. Got a little twist. You've got a nice little border around your white stamp there. And I'm going to take some red ribbon. I'm going to use my tape runner and have a look. And on this side I'm going to put an X, because that's where my ribbon's going to cross. And then here I just want it to hold my ribbon, and you'll see what I mean when I do my ribbon. So I want to there. Do it better this way so you can see what I'm doing, and I can hold this piece. Make my loop and hold it in place, and then put this piece over at the back so that it's in the same position, so that my loop is even here and here. Okay, and then I'm just going to snip this, trim it, and I'm just going to pop this on a few dimensionals. Here it is. I'm going to put the dimensionals over the ribbon so that it still holds the ribbon in place. Just in case. We're just going to pop this on the front of the card, right in the center. I think just like that. So there it is. I did see the original on Pinterest, but this is my own design. I changed it up a little bit. I used different paper, different dyes, different sentiments, different colors, but the general idea I found on Pinterest. So don't be shy of looking on Pinterest for good ideas. Just make them your own when you're finished. And as always, if you want to case this card, please do. And if you sell your cards, please put the Stampin' Up! Angel stamp on the back, which just says all the supplies you used are Stampin' Up! Supplies. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week. Bye.